This is the plaintiff, Joshua Laney. He says he purchased a teacup kitten from the defendant, and the poor little thing had a detoxifying bacteria which caused her to have violent seizures. He didn't have the $2,500 it would cost to attempt to fix the problem, so they had to put the cat down. The defendant refuses to reimburse him for the cost of the kitten and the vet bills, so he's suing the loser here and now for the $1,542.56 he is owed. This is the defendant, Eric. He says the plaintiff signed a contract stating he had 72 hours to bring the kitten to his own vet to be checked out, and he didn't hear anything from the guy for 6 months. He has no idea what happened to the plaintiff's cat in all that time. It could have been anything from bad food to chemicals sprayed in the home. Bottom line, the plaintiff is a rude guy, and he doesn't have a leg to stand on in this case. He's accused of selling a sick kitty.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff bought a teacup kitten from the defendant. It had a horrible disease and had to be put down, but the defendant says the plaintiff simply waited way too long. It's the case of the defendants, not my cup of tea.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Joshua Laney.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing Victoria, represented by Eric. Both of you have asked not to mention your last names, and we'll respect that, for $1,552.56, the amount you paid for a kitten, plus vet bills, plus the euthanasia costs because it didn't work out. Tell me what happened.
We purchased the cat on October 9th for my girlfriend's birthday on October 8th in Brooklyn, New York for $700.
And what kind of a cat was this that it was $700?
It was a teacup Persian cat.
Purebred.
Purebred teacup Persian. Can you tell me about that breed?
Okay, it's a Persian cat. The thing is that teacup means that they grow between like 7, 8 pounds.
All right, and so go on. Do you have a picture of the cat?
Yes, I have a couple of pictures of the cat.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh, I'm beautiful.
Sure.
Just
The
beautiful.
microphone.
I wish I could get a cat. I think my dog would pick her teeth with this cat. What did you name the kitty?
Eloise.
Eloise. Okay.
So we purchased her on October 9th for $700 in Brooklyn, and apparently they do not...
How'd you find the dealer?
We found them on eBay and also on their website. They have a website that they say they've been breeding for like 14 years, I think.
Okay, so go ahead.
And on February 11th, we took her to the ER because she had really bad...
Tell me about the transaction. Did you sign anything?
Yes, we
yeah.
have a contract.
Okay, let me see. Okay, so go ahead.
And on February 11th, we brought her to the ER because she wasn't eating. She was having bad diarrhea and she was tremoring, and she had some severe lethargia. She would sleep for like 12 hours at a time.
Do you have the vet report in front of you?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I would like to look at.
It's on February 11th.
Okay, so go on.
And they prescribed her, they gave her fluids and stuff and said that she was dehydrated, and they prescribed her a prescription and put her on a GI diet, and we were charged $390.11 that day. So we took her home, and the next day...
And this was how long after the purchase?
We got her in October, so this is in February.
Oh, okay,
3
so
months
this was
later?
several months later. All right,
Yeah.
so then, and so you brought her home, and what happens?
After the medication and we gave her the GI food, she seemed like she was okay. I mean, she had the lethargia. Our friends always asked if something was wrong.
And until that point, had she been playful and everything had been fine?
She slept a lot. Things were just, she was lethargic a lot. She was eating normal, though. And then on March 18th, March 17th, she started having seizures. A lot of them, like one every hour. So we called the ER, the vet that we had brought her to, on February 11th, and they said that if she was having seizures, there wasn't much we could do. So we did bring her in the next morning, and she had about 10 seizures at that point.
Did the vet ever tell you what the problem was?
They said that she had a congenital malformation called a liver shunt, and that her veins weren't detoxifying all of her blood.
Okay, do you have the report from the vet that says that? And that the vet gives you that report on what date?
When the date that she died on March 18th.
Okay. Did the vet ever propose to you something that might save her?
It would cost $1,500 to $2,000 just for the immediate surgery to see if she would survive.
That might or might not work.
They said
Exactly.
there was
Right, I
no way
understand.
that she would never be fully healthy again
And
Okay.
she was already blind from the
and
10
going
seizures.
brain dead.
So you made the decision to euthanize her.
Yes.
And
She
that
was
cost
going-
you $452.45.
Correct.
Now, at what point do you contact the defendant and let them know what's going on?
I contacted them the next day.
This is after the cat was put to sleep?
Yeah, I left them a voicemail explaining what had happened. I sent them emails.
And you never got any response from them?
No. and-
Never? Not one? Okay,
No,
let me hear from you, Eric.
Okay. First is, they had come to buy a kitten from us in October. The kitten was already 3 months old at that time. And I told people, read the contract in front of me before they sign it. And you already have a copy of it, but I also have copies too. And I want to make sure that they understand that I want them to bring the cat to their vet. They have 72 hours to get something from the vet saying kitten is not healthy, and we'll refund the money. So
Right.
we want people, before spending that much money, to feel confident in their purchase.
Did you take the cat to the vet within 72 hours?
No.
Okay, so go on.
Okay, also, the fact is that when the kitten got sick, we never got any voicemails, emails, anything, until after the kitten was euthanized at...
What would you have done had you received the voicemail,
we
before the
could've-
kitten was euthanized?
We would have taken back the kitten and given a refund.
Your contract, first of all, states no refunds will be made after 72 hours of final sale. This sale took place in New York.
Yes.
So you have to follow New York law.
Right.
And even then, when you because New York law has changed since then. You're aware of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Even then, at the time of this sale, New York law was not that no refunds will be made 72 hours after final sale. That's just false. That's not New York law.
Okay.
And you can't falsely inform them of what the law is. The law at that time was you have 14 days to bring it back to me with a letter of congenital defect. Because in this case, it's not that you sold the cat sick, it's
Yeah.
that you sold the cat with a congenital defect. That means hereditary, it came that way, made that way. All right?
Okay.
So at the time, it was 14 days, not 72 hours. So that's first of all
Okay.
false. But since then, the law has changed this February in the state of New York, and a congenital defect, and I think it's a good change in the law, because a congenital defect is really hard to find sometimes, and it doesn't manifest itself right away. So what it does now is pet owners of dogs and cats now have that same 14 days for you sold the cat sick to me, but you have 6 months for the cat or dog has a congenital defect. They're within the 6 months. So what's your
Yeah, but
defense?
What I'm really interested in, if they had called us, right, when the kitten got sick, we would have worked with them.
You don't strike me as the kind of people who would have worked with them because they called you 7 times and you didn't return their calls. So I understand that by then they had euthanized a cat, but when you stand here under oath and tell me we're nice people, we would have worked with them, I'd like nice people to return a call. Why
Well,
didn't you
I
return
did.
any of their calls?
We did. And the thing is that my wife, Victoria, spoke to them on many occasions.
Did Victoria speak to you when you called her after the cat was
No.
euthanized? Did you speak to Victoria?
That's not true.
I had to call her a few times, and then after about 3 weeks, she answered her phone call. I mean,
8 o'clock
I
in the
do.
morning.
So the answer is yes or
Yes.
no? Did you talk to Victoria after
Once,
the cat was euthanized?
yes.
All right, and what happened?
It didn't go well. I tried.
What did she say?
I tried to explain to her, the scenario that I couldn't have called her. The cat got sick and had to be put down within a few hours. And I told her that
Yeah, what are you suggesting that she shouldn't, if a vet is telling them this cat is suffering, that she shouldn't euthanize the cat?
No, but the idea is that we would have taken back the kitten.
But why would they give you the cat that's when the vet is saying, take the cat out of its misery? Here's what the letter says. Even before the blood work, the attending emergency veterinarian was very concerned Eloise was suffering from a portosystemic shunt. In this congenital malformation of the liver circulation, blood travels from the gastrointestinal tract to the general circulation bypassing the liver. Liver doesn't develop properly and has an abnormal function. We told them that if the symptoms did not resolve, this is back in February, a liver function test was recommended to see if she had a liver shunt. The next month, she stopped eating and had 10 seizures, and then the next day was presented for emergency service after actively seizing. Gastrointestinal signs, this is a lot of information, none of what I need. I need to see something that says this cat had a congenital defect.
That's why I'm
Where
here.
is it?
I didn't have the $1,587 to purchase
take the test.
to get to
We
the
have a problem.
radiologist.
Yeah, I understand. But does it take $1,500 to do a liver function blood test? Because that's what they said they had recommended to you. In the first paragraph at the end, it said a liver function blood test. And then in the last paragraph, it says a liver function test would further support Eloise's diagnosis of CPPS. Needed to be sent to an outside lab, would not have been available until the following day or even later due to her extremely critical condition, poor diagnosis, extremely high suspicion she was suffering from a portosystemic shunt. Extremely high suspicion. I'm gonna have to talk to this vet. Court's in recess.
All rise.
So, better place to get a pet. Private sale, pet store, rescue.
A rescue, absolutely.
Because?
Well, because, I mean, they've taken these animals off the streets and giving people...
Fair point. What do you think? What do you think?
You give an opportunity to have the pet to live like in a better way, like,
So you're saying rescue?
yeah, rescue.
What do you think?
I think a rescue because they're killing like a bunch of animals every day, thousands, and
Do you know what else? See, I have a hidden agenda here. They never forget these animals. When you rescue them, honestly, I've had plenty. Never forget. And they're great pets. Going inside the courtroom.
I was able to actually reach the vet. When I read this letter, let me tell you what I think happened here. There is a test that could have been done, not surgery, a test that could have been done. The problem is the test was a couple $100. And I might have done the test, you might have done the test. We've got a couple $100 sitting around. They've got a vet who's telling them the cat is not gonna make it and the cat is suffering. So what's the point to them of spending the couple $100 for a liver function test, which would have told them that it's proven that it's a congenital defect? My standard in a court of law is that they have to prove their case by a preponderance of the evidence, not beyond its exclusion of every reasonable doubt. The doctor's standard in her head is, I'd love to have the test that tells me. But when I asked the doctor, tell me what your medical opinion is, her medical opinion is that it was a shunt, which is a congenital defect, a liver shunt. Based on what I have heard, here's what happens. You're suing for like almost $2,000. Did you read the statute? Because what it says is, if you do not return the cat, if you choose to keep the cat, which is in essence what occurred, then what you're capped at is the value of the cat. In other words, what you paid for the cat. So you can get reimbursed your vet bills up to the amount of the purchase price of the cat. You can't get beyond that. So that's what you're capped at. That's what I'm going to order. Verdict for the plaintiff in the amount of the $700. Good luck, folks.
So the plaintiff has recovered something, not everything they sued for. This is the defendant right here on the losing end of this verdict. What's your comment on it?
I think that's actually a fair judgment. I mean, like, if they had told us and gave us all the information up front, I would probably return the purchase price of the kitten.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing this for 10 years, and I contacted the other owners because I cared.
Okay.
And
All right.
they were healthy, so I wanted to know the truth. Thank you.
All right, head around the corner there.
Thank you.
All right, step on in here, and this case finally wraps up. It's not all the money you sued for, it's just the value of the property.
Yes.
The cat has property.
The birthday present was, we got it back basically and avenged the cat and, did what was right, put it out of its misery.
You look like you were on the verge of tears there.
I wanted what was right. I mean, I'm not really concerned about the money as much as the cat's well-beings, and I would have preferred, I don't know, if she got her breeding license taken.
How much do you miss that kitty? Little bit. All right. That answers that. Harvey?
Okay, if you do end up with a contract in getting a pet, you need to read it really carefully to know your rights. And in many states, they have laws protecting consumers when the pet is ill to get your money back and to return the pet, within a certain period of time, which varies from state to state.